Hello and welcome to another Mathinar video. In this video we're going to talk about the recent document produced by Ofqual about the decisions on how GCSE, AS and A-level grades will be determined in summer of 2021. So this is a 25-page document. The link for this is in the description below, so be sure to download that and have a read for yourself. What I've done is I have summarized the first two sections, so the introduction and then the summary of decisions, and then the details goes into detail of each individual part. So I'm going to be going through the introduction and then the summary of the decisions. Okay, so because of the disruption caused to your education by COVID-19, the government decided earlier this year that exams will not take place as normal in summer 2021. After this, Ofqual did a consultation on the 29th of January in which they had responses from over 100,000 responses from head teachers, parents, students. You may have submitted some information for this, and as a result of all of that, they have produced this document which is outlining the next steps. So I'm going to provide a short summary of all of this. So the summary of decisions. After looking at all the responses, they've got a summary of the assessment and evidence, the support materials, quality assurance, appeals and results. We're going to go through each one of those. So assessment and evidence. Teachers must assess their students' performance on the content that has been delivered to them by their teachers. And this will determine the grade that each student should receive. So teachers should not be assessing you on any topic that they have not had a chance to teach you. Okay, so if there's certain topics that your school has missed out, then this should not be on the assessment that you will be sitting to determine your grade. Right, teachers can use evidence of a student's performance from throughout the course to inform their judgment. So your GCSE course should have started at the start of year 10. So teachers can use any evidence of your performance from the start of year 10 to the end of year 11 to determine the grade that they wish to award you. Teachers should determine the grades as late in the academic year as practical. So this is to allow you to learn as many more topics as possible before your grades have been decided, and giving you more time to improve your grade. So some of you will be doing some tests when you go back to school next week, and they may form part of the evidence by which the teachers will submit your grade. However, I feel that probably later on in May or even early June, you'll be sitting another assessment, and that one will be probably the most important one for you. Schools and colleges should use a broad range of evidence to determine the grades before submitting them. So what this is saying, I think this applies more to other subjects other than maths. And then the heads of centres, so the head of your exam centre or school will need to confirm that students have been taught sufficient content to allow progression to the next stage of their education. So for example, if you're doing GCSE maths, then the head of centre will need to confirm that you have been taught enough content to be able to progress onto the A-level course. And overall, it will be no easier or harder for students to achieve a particular grade this year compared to previous years. That says easier or harder. So what they're trying to say is that the percentage of people being awarded a grade 7 should be similar, should not be more or less than previous years. And they've done that by they've asked the schools to try and keep the same proportion of grades throughout the school compared to previous years, or a similar. But there's no fixed rule on this, but they've just been advised to consider this. Support materials. So exam boards will provide a package of support materials which will include questions, mark schemes, and data of how students particularly performed on individual questions and example materials. There'll be advice on content coverage, topic selection, and marking. And this will be based on past questions and will include a proportion of previously unpublished questions for every subject. Okay, so the exam board will be providing this to each school, and then teachers will be able to use the support materials until the submission of the grades, so the deadline for the submission of grades. Now, the use of these materials are not compulsory. Okay, they will be used as part of the range of evidence that teachers could use to determine your grade. So your school will receive this. It is up to your teachers or up to your schools whether they use these. I feel a lot of teachers will probably use these because with the exam questions that they use, they will have proper guidance on how to mark them. And remember, it's going to be your teachers that are marking the exam papers this year, not examiners. Okay, then there's a section on quality assurance. That's more for the centre. And then appeals. So students will be able to appeal their grade. Any student that's unhappy with their grade will need to ask their centre to check whether there's been an administrative or procedural error. Right, so first thing, if you get your grade in the summer and you're not happy with it, then you need to get the school to check if there's been an error. This could be something like you copied your student number wrong on your paper, and instead you've been given somebody else's grade, or you've not been given a grade at all, or your papers got mixed up with somebody else's. Okay, if this is the case, then the exam centre can basically correct this and submit a revised grade to the exam board. If your school, the centre is the school, so if a school does not believe an error has been made, then the student can ask the school to appeal to the exam board. So this is when you submit an appeal. So the school has to do that on your behalf. And the school will need to submit some evidence on how the judgment has been made to give that grade. And then the exam board will look at this evidence. And if the exam board agree that based on the evidence provided that the student has been awarded the correct grade, that grade will stand. If, however, the exam board decides that the evidence produced and the grade awarded do not match up, then the exam board will change the grade. It is important to notice that your grade could go up or it could go down here as well. Okay, so that's something to keep in mind whenever you do an appeal, that not only can your grade go up, your grade could end up going down too. And then results day. So results day will be on the 10th of August for AS and A-Level, and on the 12th of August for GCSE. So this is slightly earlier than they usually are. This just allows more time for any appeals to go through before students go on to college or university. Now the rest of the document goes into the details of the sections that we've just been talking about. And if you'd like to find out a bit more about those, feel free to download the document, and there is a link in the description below, and have a read of that on your own. Thank you for watching. I hope you found that video useful. If you have any feedback, please leave it in the comments below, and I hope to see you in a video soon. Thank you. Bye.